What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance.
What time is it?
It's time for horror draft time.
Horror movie draft time, bitches! Woo!
This is like our thing.
It is.
This is our
It's our bit. This is what we do, bitches.
Yeah.
All right, if you haven't heard before what we did is we did a villain draft a couple episodes back.
Which was awesome.
It was amazing. So, hopefully we get all good kinds of feedback from that and everything. We can know who has the best team ever. Obviously me. Masters of everything is awesome is masters of everything. Not awesome. All right, so we're going to keep going with this. Today what we're going to do is we're going to do a horror movie draft. So just a recap on the rules. So last time we flipped a coin to see who was going to get to be the person to get the pick first. I won, so this time Rich will get the first pick. But the idea behind this is that it's NFL-style drafting, so there's 7 rounds. You get 1 pick per round, obviously, and then we just compile a team. What we're doing with this is just trying to see who can have the best mesh-up of horror movies. Each pick, we'll discuss it and look for all kinds of great feedback from our listeners on which movies we have missed or which team is the best. Anything to add, sir?
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Doubt it. I've got my board ready. It's going to be amazing. All right. So you get the first pick.
All right.
So go ahead.
My first pick is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, and I've seen a bunch. Good ones, bad ones, ugly ones, pretty ones, but this one is the one that actually unnerved me. My number 1 pick, first round, hailing from director Stanley Kubrick, is The Shining.
Oh, okay. I am going to kind of probably upset you with this, but I have not seen the original Shining. I've seen the TV version, but not the original.
Here's first time I ever saw this movie. I was probably, I think it was like 12 or 13, and at that age, my parents would let me stay at the house. As long as I stayed in the house, I was fine. This was over Christmas break. My mom and my dad took my 3 younger sisters off to our grandparents for the day. They lived in Iowa, and so they left me in the I was just not really feeling it. I can't remember. I don't think I was sick, but so my parents let me stay in the house by myself for the day. Now, this was over Christmas break. This was also the same year that there was a huge snowstorm. I think there was like 14 inches on the ground. I mean, there was a lot of snow. So, snow's all over the ground. I'm by myself in the house. It's the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon. In the house by myself, and The Shining comes on, which is basic premise. It's a story about a family that gets snowed in a hotel. Then they're completely alone. They're caretakers. They get snowed into this hotel. Craziness ensues. Ghosts and everything. Crazy fucking movie. There's so many like little things, like the sound of the movie and the Jack Nicholson fucking stellar performance. Amazing performance. Based on a Stephen King novel.
Have you read the book?
I have not read the book. They actually came out with a book. He came out with a book later that I think they're making I think they're making a movie. It's basically the little boy that was in The Shining. It's his character 20, he's an adult.
Okay.
About him as an adult, and because there's some things that go on with him while he's in the hotel, and it makes sense why they would make a movie about him as an adult. I'll say that. I'm avoiding even though the movie's way, way old. I'm avoiding spoilers because you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies that I know enough of that I pretty much know the premise of it. And I mean, I've seen the remake, so it's fairly close. The thing I think that's interesting about that, and I just kind of started picking up on this recently, is like all the subtle stuff that's in there, and all
exactly. The one thing that fucks me up, I will say this, okay? This is probably the like it was so random, and I think this part of it was Stanley Kubrick, because Stanley Kubrick to me is I find his movies slightly to the left. They're unnerving to me. Like Full Metal Jacket, like the bit in Full Metal Jacket where Vincent D'Onofrio's character, they call him Private Pile, is sitting. He's sitting in the bathroom by himself, and he has that M16 in his hand, and he just has this that's look on his face.
Look.
He's like it's almost like his face. He's like naturally contorted his face somehow, and that's that was all. I mean, that's just the way Stanley Kubrick shoots the movie. The whole movie just like it just gives you this uneasy feeling to me.
Have you it's kind of I want to go and watch it now just because of all the conspiracy theories I've heard about, but like have you heard like this was his apology for filming the moon landing? There's been like a bunch of weird rumors about or like conspiracy theories about this movie, and
there's a documentary I was going to watch about it was a documentary, it's on Netflix about The Shining, and it's called Room 237.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. It's in my queue, but yeah, awesome movie. Awesome fucking movie. Still unnerves me. And it's not just because of the whole, 14 years old by myself in the house. That movie just it creeps me out.
Mhm. Have you had any like anything that like when you were younger after watching it that like freaked you out at night from it? Like did it keep you up at night or anything like that, or is it just one of those things like if you sit and think about it, it just freaks you out?
Yeah, that's not really the content in the. That's the thing. It's not really the content of the movie that I find disturbing. It's the visual.
Okay.
It's the visual of it and the way Stanley Kubrick shoots that movie. If anybody else had made that movie, it wouldn't be as creepy to me.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely on my list to check out. So
there's my pick. So you're gonna pick Jaws. So let's move on.
Well, I kind of had this thought. I know you might let Jaws kind of sink, and a lot of people don't consider it a horror movie, but I do.
Pun intended.
I'm thinking my first pick. I had two, so it's really tough to pick which one of these two because I feel like you're gonna get this other one if I don't. But so I'm gonna go with a movie that like when I was growing up freaked the shit out of me. Like this movie kept me up at night. This was a movie that like I saw the scary thing in it like in my room at night, like just waving at me. This was like one of like 4 movies my grandma had at her house. And between the ages of like 6 and 10, my sister just had to watch this movie every time we went to stay. This movie, also based on a book by Stephen King, featuring a fucked up clown. It.
That movie, I think that movie is the reason that most of people our age dislike clowns.
Yes. My sister just had to watch this movie every time we went. And, like, I can only watch, like, a half hour of it. And I had to leave because it freaked me out that much. Just the, we all float down here. And, like, the sewer place where the clown's waving.
He's just like, hey.
It starts out as his dad who died in war. And, like, it's slowly, like, he has one balloon. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Then he's got 2. And he's starting to get makeup and then hair. And then it's the fucking clown.
Yeah.
So this movie... there was times when I was at my house and I swore I saw the clown like outside my room like waving at me, and somehow I flipped the light on and went to the living room, had all the lights in the living room on, and I slept out there and I was freaked out. I was like, I swear to God I saw the clown.
That would freak me out. Like I'll tell you one thing about Stephen King's It wasn't like the clown was scary, but there were other moments in that movie that fucking freaked me out too. I'll tell you one thing that really freaked me out in that movie is I think I'm pretty sure I'm thinking the same movie, where the guy is sitting on the toilet, and something comes up from under the toilet and attacks him. I want to say that's I don't like how long is that movie?
It's a 2-piece movie because I think it was that's the even fucked up part. I think it was made for TV.
It was. At least that's where I remember seeing it.
Yeah, because John Boy Walton was in it. I'm like, oh, this has got to be a great movie. John Boy's in it.
John Boy be dead.
Because the first part was like the prequel was like them first fighting. I can't remember the clown's name. It's Penny Whistle, I believe, right? Isn't it Penny Whistle?
Yeah, I think so.
So like the first hour and a half, the first part of that TV show or the TV movie was like them as kids fighting it, and then the second part was them as adults going back to fight it.
Okay.
But like, I mean, there's just I want to go back and watch it just because I'm older now, so I'm kind of curious if I could like take it. But
I was gonna say I haven't seen it in forever.
I haven't seen it since like probably I was 12. I mean, so like I said, like the one time I saw it outside my room, and this one time when I was taking like a hunting class with my dad, we were just hanging out with everybody, and there was this dark hallway. Swear to God, I saw him down at the end of the hallway waving at me. God. So there's like multiple times I saw it, and I think after I told Mom and Dad about like seeing it twice, they like told Grandma, it's like, yeah, let's not play this movie whenever Sean's over if we can.
So like your nightmare scenario is basically like a clown in the ocean.
Doo doo.
See, now it sounds like you're having sex on a squeaky bed, and you're spent.
All right, so my first round pick, the Stephen King movie, the Stephen King book, It.
All right. That's a decent pick. That one's gonna be hard to top. Now I'm curious. Like, are we going by movies? Are we going by movies that freaked us out, or because like I can't really think of a lot of movies that totally freaked me. I can think of good scary movies to me.
I think it's just kind of anything. I mean, like some of them are going to be movies that freak me out. Probably majority will be the ones that freak me out. But I'm also going to pick some just because of I think they're good quality horror movies.
No, okay. All right. Well, that's what I have. The next one wasn't really a movie that scared me. Like I didn't find it scary. In fact, at times I found it funny. I thought it was. It's probably one of the better horror films that I've seen in recent memory. My second round pick is Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, that is a first round pick.
Great fuck. Like I said, it's actually I would actually go farther to say it's probably one of the better movies in general that I've seen in the last
5 to 10 years at least.
At least a couple. I mean, you got movies like The Avengers and trying to think. I mean, Lord of the Rings trilogy was about 10 years ago, and
yeah, that was one of those movies. So, like, I saw all the trailers for it.
Step It Up. I mean,
oh, that was a Step Up 2, Step Up 3.
Stop it.
Oh, Step on It Hard. Oh, those are great. That when I saw the trailers for that movie, Cabin in the Woods, I didn't really have a clue what to know. Like, I didn't understand what was going on in the trailers.
I totally didn't either. I just, I mean, this is the fanboy in me talking, but I just saw, Joss Whedon's attached to it. Oh, I'll watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know a lot of these people that are in this movie. It's worth watching.
Bradley Whitford. I'm a closet West Wing addict. I'm sorry. I loved the West Wing, and I'm like that's Joshua fucking Lyman. He's in the movie.
Well, there's there was a bunch of famous Whedonverse characters. One of my favorites is Fran Kranz, the guy who played the stoner. I thought his character in there was funny as hell, but then you just think about like his acting in Dollhouse, and like he had some great scenes in that show.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like it was best of both worlds. Like it was just campy just enough to be funny, but then it had enough little scary stuff in it to make it seem better than most B-rated scary movies. But I mean, just the storyline in general kept me entertained. It's one of those movies that
Exactly. It was entertaining. I mean, yeah, at times it was gory, and at times, it was trying. It was ramping up. It was, it functioned as a horror movie. I mean, there's no other way to call it. It was a horror movie, but it felt it was entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't being scary. It wasn't just trying to be scary. It was being entertaining.
It'd be kind of interesting. Like, it's one of those movies, if they did it right, like they could do like create a TV series that's basically prequels, and you basically start each movie with that draft. It's like what thing are they going to pick up to start this whole game of, keeping the gods at bay.
Yeah, they killed Thor in that movie.
They did. Well, Thor kind of killed himself.
Yeah, that's true.
Which that didn't really seem fair. That's kind of dickish on if I had to say.
Whoa.
But I mean, like, you had the jumps in it, you had the laughs. I mean, it was pretty good.
Oh God, when the Harbinger calls, making the phone call. am I on speaker? That's just rude. You don't do that. 440? What happens next?
I'm gonna have to watch that again. I actually went to see that movie with Tiffany's mom.
Oh yeah.
Her and I went to see that movie. Yeah. It was fun. All right, so Cabin in the Woods. That's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
That's my number 2.
All right. I'm gonna stick with what freaked me out. Just because I think this is kind of my other area of freakouts. Whenever I think of like things that really, really just give me the creeps, this movie, then I think there was a couple after that kind of just turned me off of this genre altogether. But possession movies just really creep me out. Like, I wouldn't say I'm really religious, but it's just that whole unknown thing of being possessed and not in control of yourself, and something like having control of your thoughts and your body that just freaks me out. And this movie really did it for me. I think I even saw it on TV, so a lot of it was probably cut out.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go with the famous devil possession movie, The Exorcist.
Ooh. I mean, that one's classic. There was actually a priest who claimed that the devil possessed the film, like not the process of filmmaking. Like, he thought the devil was in like the physical film reel.
Well, there's a part in the movie where she's in the doctor's office, and spoilers if nobody's seen it, but
It's The Exorcist.
And they do that. She's in the office, and they do like I'm like freaking out because I'm home alone now too. So if you hear me scream, what's gonna happen? So I got Tiffany's dogs here too, and sure enough, they're gonna start barking and freak the shit out of me. So you're probably gonna hear me scream.
Cocks in hell.
Yeah, but there's a part where she's in the doctor's office and she's just being like a little terror, and they do like a quick like black screen, and you see like if you pause it, you see the devil's face.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember seeing that part?
Yes.
And there's another part where she's like walking around the house when it's really cold, and the same thing happens.
Yeah.
And like, it's one of those things, like, you see it and you're like, did I just see what, like,
is that what
they recorded that, right? They meant to have that there, right? But supposedly that happened in a hospital in St. Louis to a guy.
That's the story I heard, that it was a boy in St. Louis.
In college, there's a guy who's like a ghost hunter type person, and that stuff always really interests me, like the supernatural and everything, more so back then than now. But we were kind of talking to him a little bit, and somebody asked him, was like, The Exorcist, was it really real? And he's like, yes. I'll tell you what I tell everybody. It happened. It was in St. Louis, and basically everything happened in the movie happened in real life, but just in different places. Wow. And he was referencing the cross part.
Wow.
So that's just pretty creepy. So that's another one of those movies that just unsettles me and just really, really creepy.
Yeah. I mean, I to me, like, you gotta give it up for Linda Blair. I mean, Linda Blair, like, went through hell.
Yeah, she broke her back, didn't she?
I think she hurt herself, and like, I mean, in those scenes where where it's super cold and you can see their breath or everything. Like it's cold on set. It's freezing fucking cold, and she's in a fucking like a night slip.
Oh man.
Like it's obviously it's below freezing, otherwise you can't see anybody's breath on film. But I mean, you got to consider it's 28 degrees on set, and she's wearing like a nightgown. Yeah, I mean, she went through some shit for that movie, and I think it showed. I mean, it paid off for her.
Yeah, it didn't win any awards, did it? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I mean that's when horror films were kind of like that thing off in the corner. They're like, yeah, there's those too.
That's not really any real stories. It's just gore and guts and yada yada. So yeah, so my second round pick, second pick in the second round, I'm gonna go with The Exorcist.
All right. That one's pretty good. Okay, I'm what would a horror movie draft be without your one of the big three, of the slasher genre for me. This I would say between the big three.
Well, I'm gonna stop you real quick. So, I think we talked about this beforehand, but when it comes to the rules of this horror draft, any kind of franchises or anything, you can't pick the franchise. You have to pick the actual movie, and any kind of original versus remake, you have to pick either the original or the remake, so they can be individual.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just for the listeners out there to know. So,
mine between the big three, my third pick, hailing from, God, I can't remember the name of the town, the original Halloween.
Oh,
Michael Myers to me was between Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers. Michael Myers is the one that freaked me out. With Jason, it's like, stay away from Crystal Lake and certain parts of Manhattan, and you're fine. Oh, and the space station. Certain parts of Manhattan, Crystal Lake, and a space station in the future, and you're good.
Or some nanobots that'll help, save him and make him into what he needs to be made into.
Exactly. I mean, Freddy Krueger, a bit tougher to avoid, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I was younger, to me, Michael Myers was everywhere. Michael Myers would jump out from, Michael Myers is that guy that like jumps up from behind the couch and and stabs you in the neck. Like, oh, I'm just gonna chill out, watch Oprah. Nope. Dead. Michael Myers, knife in the throat.
When he was the guy too, his mask, it was freaking who was it? You know who it is?
William Shatner.
Yes, spray painted white.
William Shatner mask.
And just never. What was always really fucked up about that too, even though this is kind of more other films, but with the I can't remember if it was the second or third, maybe the fourth. Because they all kind of go in a continuation, like they all are really just like one big movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in my opinion, I mean, 1 and 2 is one movie. It's like to me, Halloween 1 and 2 is like The Godfather 1 and 2. Like you have to watch them back to back because they fit together seamlessly. I mean, Halloween 2 picks up the nanosecond that Halloween leaves off, and that was to me like that. That would seem like a hard thing to do because this wasn't the era where we're just gonna film 3 movies at once or 2 movies at once. There's a span of time between Halloween 1 and 2, but I mean it's seamless on screen.
Because in the second one he gets picked up by that hobo, right? That like nurses him back to health.
Yeah, they end up in the hospital.
Oh,
okay. Second one.
So I'm thinking of maybe one of the further down the line, because there's one where he's basically dead in the river and they thought they killed him, but some hobo.
Oh, and Jamie Lee Curtis. You got Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. She looked good.
That's a pretty good one.
So for me, I'm going with Halloween, the original Halloween, the Michael Myers we all know and love. Because then you watch, I mean, you probably did the same thing. It was like you saw the opening thing and you were like, Illinois.
Yeah.
I live in Illinois.
Google wasn't around to see if
no.
that place was around. That's funny with that movie. They filmed it actually in California, so you can actually see palm trees in some scenes.
Yeah.
All right. So for my third round pick, this is another kind of classic 80s movie. Probably say this is the one that kind of built this genre. Well, maybe not built this genre, but maybe more modernized it for us now. It was another movie when I watched it when I was younger, freaked me out. But when I watched it as I got older, I came to actually really enjoy it. This is a movie that stars Kiefer Sutherland. I'm going to go with The Lost Boys.
Ooh.
So I remember going over to one of my dad's cousin's house, and they were watching this movie. It was a scene where Kiefer Sutherland is chasing the guy out of the tunnel.
Okay.
And so basically, right when I look at the screen, it's him with that teardrop coming down.
Yeah.
Freak the shit out of me. I could all I could remember was seeing that scene and being freaked out. So I never really wanted to watch it. But finally, once I got a little bit older, and was kind of getting more into horror movies, went ahead and picked it up and watched it. It's probably, if I just have a top 10 of films, it's probably one of them.
Yeah. Oh, great movie. I have it on DVD. Did you watch any of the sequels? I tried watching the second one, and it was okay. No, it wasn't great. And then I didn't even try with the third one.
Yeah, I think I caught bits and pieces of the third. I watched the second one just because one of the guys in the movie was from the town that we're from. I think that's the main reason I only watched it.
Yeah, the lead character is.
Yeah. But it was a good flick. I don't know if you would argue that it didn't, but I kind of think it set the modern stage for vampires.
I think it proves that they're not covered in sparkles.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, and this is because I am extremely thick. I wasn't until years later. It was probably 5 or 6 years later that I was like, and I don't even remember how it came about. But then, all of a sudden, I was like, "Holy shit! There's Peter! It's all the Peter Pan references."
Yeah, you told me about that. I didn't understand that until you mentioned it. You're
I'm like, they're the Lost Boys. They never grow old. They never grow up. They
never die, but you must feed.
Oh, that's. I'm like, I get the Lost Boys. It's. And I was like, oh. Then my brain exploded.
It's one of the things though with that is, and they can fly too. They just have to think happy thoughts.
Oh my god!
But
that just happened.
The thing I didn't like about it though is it's one thing of those genres that I don't like is that if you kill the main lead, everybody else turns back to normal. I've always kind of hated that. Well, I guess when this was, if you hadn't feed yet, you would turn back to normal. But
honestly, the only thing that bothered me in that movie is the very beginning where there was the guy without a shirt playing the saxophone.
That was my favorite part.
I understand it's the 80s, but you see it now, and he looks. I swear, he's oiled.
Yeah, no, he is.
That's not sweat. He's been greased like a pig, and he's extremely tan, and he's got his hair pulled back in this really tight ponytail, and he's wailing on that sax. I cringed when I see it. I was like, oh.
But he's got the voice singing too. He doesn't even have the strap for the saxophone. He can just hold it with his bare hands.
Well, it's just it's that moment where if your kids are just probably. If I watch it with my oldest daughter, she just has this look when was this cool?
She's this was never cool, right? This is all an act.
And then
Nobody really did
oh.
this. But the best line, the ending of it, when the grandpa finally kills the vampire. One thing about Santa Clara I can never stand: all the damn vampires. So yes,
remake of People Are Strange.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was a cover. I think they actually used the original.
I think so. I think a lot of people have covered it. And then was Cry Little Sister.
Yeah, that was a good song. They covered, some band did a cover of that for The Lost Boys 2, and that cover actually was pretty good.
Yeah, wasn't bad. I think I have them on my Spotify somewhere. I can't remember who it was, but
I think I do too, actually.
So my third round pick, our first vampire movie on the board, The Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. All right. So now I assume you got to cover all the genres. We got vampires. So I guess I'll be the one to bite this bullet. My next pick is gonna have to be, and this might be a bit of a surprise. You think I go old school, but no. I'm going with the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
That was on my board.
Because, and I'll tell here's the reason why I picked that one over the other ones. I mean, each zombie movie, the zombies have their strengths and weaknesses, but the remake of Dawn of the Dead was the first time you saw a zombie go faster than walking, and then you were like, holy shit, they can run. To me, that was the thing. You were like, what, they can run. So
I just did a quick Google search. Dawn of the Dead actually came out after 28 Days Later.
Yeah, but I was okay. But for me, I guess then for me,
Yeah. Well, same way for me, because I don't know if 28 Days Later really hit it big on the screen.
No, I don't think it did. And like I said, I don't remember seeing 20. Yeah, I know I didn't see 28 Days Later first. 28 Days Later, I think, was more of a UK release. I mean, it was shot all in the UK, but I think it didn't really filter over to here.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a like cult kind of hit over here. But sorry, continue. The first time you really saw zombies run.
Yeah, and then you were like, "What? They don't they don't walk, so they run now." See, before that was always the running joke. Be like, oh, who gives a shit about zombies? You can just outrun them.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Just don't get surrounded. But that, I think the opening scene on that, when she first wakes up and the little girl's in the hallway, and spoilers again, but again, this is a 10-year-old movie.
Exactly.
But, the little girl in the hallway, and it's always like those two, like, They played each of those people up like you see, okay, well, here's this person, here's the little girl, she's healthy and fine. And then, 2 or 3 minutes later, she's a zombie with her doll at the window getting ready to bite the dude's neck.
Yeah.
And with that movie, I went and saw it in theaters. I'm pretty sure that's one of the first horror movies I went to see in theaters because I was a senior in high school. It was funny because it was me and another couple. And the boyfriend of the girl was like, I don't think we can get in. We're not 17. I don't think we can get in. I'm like, they never check. We'll be fine.
Right, yeah.
So I think he was just too freaked out to go watch it. So he's trying to come up with excuses.
And I don't care about giving this away because I wasn't going to pick it or anything. The first one I went and saw in a theater was Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, you got Keanu Reeves, who I'm like.
Oh no, okay, I'm thinking of something else.
No, yeah, I'm talking Gary Oldman, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins was in that movie. Anthony Hopkins was pretty good in that movie. But yeah, that was the first one. I remember my mom took me, and like we sat, we didn't. I had a friend with me, and my mom brought one of her friends, and we sat, in different parts of the theater. And I'm sitting there, and like, I mean, there's bare breasts in that movie. And I'm thinking like, oh god. I'm like, my mother's in here.
But so like when I finished that movie, I was like, that was a good movie. So they're starting to show the credits, and everybody stands up, starts heading for the exit, and you hear, and it's a video camera.
Yeah.
So everybody stops.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So everybody stops, looks at the screen, and it's just the guy whose boat they're on, and it's just him and another girl, and then it flips over to them, and they're on the characters who are escaping on the boat, and then it goes back to credits. Like, okay, that's gone. Everybody takes like 3 more steps, and it's like flips back on. It's more, the survivors, and then kind of flips back. I think it happens again. Everybody moved another like 3 feet, and then kicked back on. Everybody's like, okay, and everybody sits back down for another like 2 or 3 minutes. And so they're just feeding this stuff in, and you're watching. It's just starting to get like so because they get to the boat, and you're like, okay, they're safe. They're gonna get to an island. They'll live happily ever after. Hooray!
Right.
But then like it slowly gets worse. Like, oh, the boat broke down. Oh, they find a zombie head in a
Yeah, I was
bucket.
gonna say there was a head in a. It was like a styrofoam cooler or
Yeah.
something.
And then they get to this island, and you're like, oh, okay, they're safe now. And the dog takes off into the woods, and you just hear this horde coming, and then just kicks right into Disturbed, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and dead.
Credits.
Yep.
But then you stay through the whole thing because you're waiting to make sure it's all done.
Right. Did they maybe make it? Maybe they got back on the boat.
Maybe the dog made it. Dog didn't make it.
The first movie my 14-year-old daughter ever saw, scary movie, she watched with me. We were up late one night, and or she was up late, and she's like, I want to watch a movie. I was like, I got a scary movie if you want to try it. And she was like, okay. And so, first movie we ever watched was the original black and white Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
And she watched it beginning to end, and she was totally fine. Like, didn't freak out about it at all. But it was the first time, and I think what really blew her mind more than anything was she was like, everybody died. And I'm like, yeah. Everybody died. And she's like, well, that didn't really end well. And I'm thinking, I'm like, this is the first time she's ever seen a movie that, like, didn't have, like, happily ever after. Like, everything worked out. Like, I think that's what kind of threw her more than, zombies and whatever. She was like, that was the first, like, the credits rolled, and she was like, everybody died.
That's funny. So, Dawn of the Dead remake.
And the other thing about the Dawn of the Dead remake, that was the first scary movie I ever saw with my wife, and after that, she doesn't watch scary movies with me anymore.
Oh, wow.
Which is why I now have the 14-year-old watch scary movies with me, because no one else will do it. The boy's not old enough, and so, like, I'll stay up late with her, and we'll watch all sorts of crap, and because my wife, she swore off watching movies with me, and she swore off zombie movies at that point.
Okay, well, that's interesting because I got my fourth round pick ready.
All right.
It's also a remake. This is one you and I saw in theaters. I thought your wife was with us on this one.
Oh, God, it's Spider-Man 3, isn't it?
It's Spider-Man 3. No. My eyes!
Emo dance sequence. No!
But this is a movie I saw twice. I saw it, I think, once in Springfield with a buddy, and then I saw it here with you and your wife. It's a Wes Craven remake. I think the remake's a little bit scarier than the original, but it's The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes. That was Wes Craven's second movie that he did. Last House on the Left, he hit up first. And after that, they're like, oh, you have a very sick and depraved mind. What are you going to do now? Guess what? Last House on the Left, let's put it in the desert.
But I go with the remakes. I think the remake was a little bit scarier. More so just because of the fact when the whole baby thing is creepy.
The baby thing is creepy.
What's he call it? Tenderloin?
Yeah.
Does he call it Tenderloin?
Yeah, something like that.
And that's just one of those movies. It's like, what would you possibly do to survive? Because like the guy who's the nerdy guy who doesn't shoot guns, he's kind of a, between the dad and the kid, he's kind of a sissy boy. And he ends up just destroying this dude's head to basically save him and his sister-in-law and the baby.
Yeah.
But the part that really messed me up is in the original, they set the dad on fire and everybody leaves and the girl starts screaming, but you don't really know what happens to her. It just looks like they took the baby and assaulted her or whatever.
Right.
But in the remake, it's very obvious what the one dude's doing to her, and it was just her acting in that scene was just very, very disturbing and creepy.
Yeah.
And it's that whole idea of just being a fish out of water too. It's like you're these people in this desert, and there's these people who live there who eat people.
Yeah, I think it's with zombie movies, it's like holy shit that might happen. But then they're like honestly, for me, you take a movie like The Hills Have Eyes, like, holy shit, there's a chance somebody actually lives like this.
Yeah, it's
crazy fucking hill folk in the goddamn desert fucking around.
Well, there's nobody there. Nobody goes there. It
Nobody
wouldn't be,
to hear you scream.
Yeah, and like the ending was the original ending. It just cuts right to red.
Yeah,
and that's what I loved about this. It doesn't cut right to red at the end, but it's like right as the credits start rolling, that's just background of red. I thought that was a real cool nod back to the original.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Referring back to an original podcast, the guy that was in the original Hills Have Eyes, Michael Berryman was his name. He was the one we were talking about. The guy from Devil's Rejects. He had no hair, and the guy that fucked chickens, or no, was allegedly fucked chickens, that he vehemently denies. Michael Berryman was his name, so you can IMDb that, and you can learn all about skin disorders where you can't sweat and you don't grow hair. So there you go.
But yeah, and you, me, and your wife did go see that, right?
We did.
Did she get?
And then she swore off going. Then she swore off scary movies in general.
Okay, yeah, because I remember being pretty disturbed by that, and
Yeah, she didn't like that one at all.
I think she had the same reaction I did after Spider-Man 3. She's like, "What the fuck you make me watch?"
Yeah.
But so my fourth round pick, The Hills Have Eyes remake.
Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. Round five. Here we go. All right, so I've covered slasher movies. I've covered zombie movies. This movie, not entirely scary, but it's again, it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods, where it's just a good fucking movie. My fifth round pick, I'm going with Aliens. Not Alien, Aliens, the sequel. So
I have not.
You haven't seen this one?
I haven't seen either of the
Sigourney Weaver. Oh crap! That dude from Mad About You, that show Mad About You. Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton's awesome in that. Come on, guys. It's game over. Game over, guys. Oh. Great fucking movie. You laugh in that movie. You're like, holy shit, there's aliens in that movie. It's the movie that introduces you to the queen alien.
Oh, okay.
The big giant one that lays eggs. That lays the eggs that have the face huggers on it. It's the movie that, you got those classic lines like, oh, game over, man. And the other one where Sigourney Weaver's like, get away from her, you bitch. And good, yeah. An Alien, you just had one. There was one, and bad things were happening, and, whatever. You get to the sequel, and honestly, to me, Aliens was the movie that broke the sequel mold.
Okay.
Where you see a movie like Alien or not really Halloween, like and you see a movie and then you see the sequel of the movie, and the sequel was always worse
because it was the same thing, just a slightly different environment.
But with Aliens, the sequel was better than the original. There was so much more going on, and there was, they were all over the place, and they brought so much more to it. It just seemed like with Alien they were kind of Alien was almost the setup to Aliens for me. I mean,
okay.
It was the first time I ever watched the sequel to a movie and I wasn't disappointed. And like I said, to me, it was better than the original.
Did they both take place in space, or was the first one on Earth and the second one in space, or
They're all in space.
they're all in space? Okay, so kind of is they're based like in a futuristic time frame? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only alien stuff I've seen is like Alien vs Predator.
Okay.
So I'm not real big, or not that I'm not big on it, just haven't watched much of the Aliens. So I cannot deny or say that's a good pick. I left that one off my board just because I'd basically say Aliens because I don't know, I want to steal it from Rich.
Too bad.
going with a sequel better than the original, actually. So my fifth round pick, unless there's anything else you want to add about Aliens.
No,
Okay.
no.
So my fifth round pick, this is a movie. This is another movie I went and saw twice, I believe in the same weekend. This was kind of in my heyday of just loving horror movies. This was a gentleman who has just horror in his genes. It's his namesake. It's a guy who is basically a master of all trades. He's a musician. He's a film artist. I think he's done TV shows. He's written books. Goes by the name of Rob Zombie.
Oh, you're gonna take it.
This is the sequel to The House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm gonna go with The Devil's Rejects.
Ah, damn it, that was mine.
This is a movie. I think I saw this twice in the same day. I believe I drove all the way to Springfield to watch it with my buddy, and then I drove all the way back to Columbia to watch it with you.
Wow.
And this is one of those movies that I think really holds up for the whole movie. The ending is kind of, they kind of do the running off into the sunset.
Freebird!
Yeah. But the whole movie itself is great. And I love it because, like you kind of mentioned with Aliens, is that House of a Thousand Corpses is more of a, it's kind of its own
campy
thing. Yeah,
The House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean, it was scary. I mean, like it tries to be scary, but it's more campy. It's more kind of like left of center.
Yeah,
in the sense that it's believable but not totally plausible.
Yeah, it's kind of a stretch to believe it. But then he comes out with Devil Rejects, and you're like, yeah, this actually probably has happened.
Complete departure. And also, if I can remember right, I'm pretty sure wasn't Weird Al in that movie? In the Devil's Rejects?
He was. I think he was getting interviewed in one of the scenes. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Brian Posehn has a piece in it. His wife, Sherry Moon Zombie's in it, who I had a huge crush on forever.
We all did.
Oh, God, I would let her do things.
Oh. like what? What kind of things would she do that you would tell me over the internet in front of people, including people you're married to?
Yeah, the
on record.
The person I'm married to is already eyeballing me about it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I told you she could tie me up and want to kill me, and I think I'd probably be happy dying that way.
Yeah.
Then, not now, of course.
I'm down. Yeah, I'd be down with it.
But there's the scene. Oh God, I could go on with this movie forever. Because they kind of started off at their house, and there's all the people they have kidnapped. So it kind of this is kind of where we left off, but not really.
It's kind of like The Hills Have Eyes. It's crazy folk in the fucking hills that just amass all this craziness and they got heads in a jar and shit.
It's got laughs in it. So there's the part where the clown is dreaming he's having sex with this hot porn star, and he wakes up next to this really heavy set woman. I can't remember what he says, but
I thought you were gonna talk about. I thought you were gonna name the other one, the other moment where I fucking lost.
Oh, the chicken fucker.
No. When they're going to get ice cream.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Tutti fucking fruity.
You know what? I'm gonna get me some Tutti fucking fruity. There is no fucking ice cream in your goddamn future. I don't understand why you gotta be such a dick. This is really good.
I need to watch that again. No, the part I was thinking, there's just tons of those little, because it humanizes them. Like in the first one,
it does. It makes them to me. It makes them people.
Yeah, because in the original one they were just evil altogether. Like you're like these aren't humans. These aren't people. But in this one, like you see the things they do, but then you see them just acting like normal families.
Exactly.
And that's something cool. I think you were the one who told me that, and I don't know if it's a direct quote or not, but like Rob Zombie, when he was talking about these characters, he said, he's like, well, I really just want to treat them like cartoon characters. Like I can take them from this scenario and they'll be this one thing, and then put them in another scenario where they're basically the same person, but it's just kind of a different rule set of environment. And so it's like a cartoon character. It's like this happened, but over here this happened too, but they don't have to necessarily be connected. But the part like I was just talking about where the clown he's dreaming of having sex with this like really sexy porn star, and he wakes up next to that fatter lady and he gets up and is like wiping his head and he's got whitey tighties on and the chick is like, oh, did you have a good dream? And he's like, yeah, 50-50. So yeah, so that's my my 5th round pick, The Devil's Rejects. I think that one kind of slipped through pretty late.
It did. Because we've actually I've referenced that movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of Michael Berryman, there he is, the chicken fucker. Oh, my chicken's from no more. Oh.
All right, sir.
Number 6. Ooh. God, Devil's Rejects is gone. Shit. Let's see. What do I got here? This is where I start. This is where I start getting analytical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a few on the boards. Like, what are you gonna take?
Let's see. I've covered aliens. I've covered zombies. We got vampires. Here's a good one. Kind of a lesser known one, but hopefully by mentioning it, some people will actually watch it because it's a good movie. And I say it only because it's a genre that we haven't covered, and it's actually, to me, I feel like it's a movie that slipped through the cracks. It's the original, not the original. I mean, they made a bunch of sequels. The first Ginger Snaps movie. Did you ever see Ginger Snaps?
No, I've had that in my Netflix. Cool. So Ginger Snaps. That was theatrically released or was it just?
I actually don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so talk a little bit about Ginger
werewolves.
Snaps.
God, it's been forever since I've seen it. I just remember it was really, really good. I just went with Ginger Snaps so I could have werewolves. So now I got werewolves, aliens, and zombies.
You've got kind of the
what do you got?
Food pyramid. I don't know. I've got The Hills Have Eyes. I've got The Devil's Rejects. Lost Boys, Exorcist, It.
Yeah, you've got a slew of serial killers. You've got a slew of killers.
Yeah. Killers across genres, I guess.
Yeah,
Individual supernatural killer. Got
actually,
possession.
okay. You know what? I'll make Ginger Snaps my honorable mention. I got one.
You're gonna go back on your pick.
I'll pull it back. I got one for you.
Last minute coming to the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is one that's easier to talk about. The original 1996 film Scream.
Oh, that's a good one.
I figured it was one you didn't have.
No, I didn't. I didn't even think about that.
Because it was another Wes Craven movie. It was the horror movie that threw other horror movies on their ear.
Mm-hmm.
It had, because in the first 5 seconds, in the first 10 minutes, the pretty blonde girl dies. Who was it's Drew Barrymore. I mean,
yeah.
she was an actress. I mean, she was a famous actress at that time. And in your brain, you're like, oh, the famous blonde actress is starting the movie off, so she'll make it. 15 minutes in, dead.
Well, the same thing. I don't know if it was that one or the second one, but Sarah Michelle Gellar was billed in that. It's like Sarah Michelle Gellar's in this movie, and she's only on screen for 15 minutes or 10 minutes and dies real quick.
Dead. It's the horror genre. It's the horror movie that kind of troped its own. It troped itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it did it I thought it did it in a decent way. I mean, it kind of, to me, once after 2, it got a little ridiculous for me. Yeah, I wasn't big on 3, or did they? I don't even think I even saw. Did they do 4? I don't think I saw.
Yeah,
4.
they did a 4. It was because the girl I think made the comeback for that one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it was kind of the same premise, but. But yeah, that really. I mean, that spurned all the scary movies.
Yeah,
that's really what pushed that.
The whole parody thing, and honestly, I think it kind of brought Wes Craven kind of back, because I mean, he had his name. Everybody kind of saw him as kind of like the he makes those horror films that are just kind of meh. I think Scream kind of brought him into more the mainstream. It kind of brought him into the limelight. People kind of took him a bit more seriously as a director when it came after Scream. At least I noticed. It seemed to me like he was more in the limelight.
Yeah. That kind of brought back horror movies in general, didn't it?
I don't know. I mean,
Or at
they're
least-
always around.
Yeah, or at least made it so that it's like you can make a lot more. You can make a lot of money with the horror movies,
Yeah.
and
it
not
made
have
it
to
viable to put them out theatrically, and
or maybe I guess maybe a better way of saying is like original ideas of a scary movie can make money compared to having to go back to the tried and true of Freddy's, Jason's, Michael Myers, and whatnot.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a Freddy Krueger 15 to make money. You can come out with a new idea and it'll generate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one. I'm surprised I missed that one.
All right. So
All
let's
right.
see. This is 7. This is your final.
No, this is my 6th pick.
Oh,
You
this
pick
is
first.
Yeah.
So with this pick, I'm kind of going to go with the campy and the tried and true. I'm not going to go with any of the originals. I think some of those are probably more influential movies, but I think this is one that deserves to be talked about and would definitely be a good on a team. This was the one that really first started the matching up of two different universes into one. You have your Predators versus Aliens now because of this.
Right.
I'm going to go with the Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, okay.
I was, I believe, 16 or 17 when this came out. I really, really wanted to see it, but it wasn't showing in the town I was from. So my buddy and I, we drove 2 hours to a movie theater. We got there just in time to sit down right as the movie kicked on. And we had to sit like in the first or second row, so we had to sit really, really far up. But what really sold this for me was because the talk the whole time was like, well, how are they going to get these two together? Like, how are they going to make this make sense where Freddy and Jason are in the same universe?
Right.
And they did an excellent job of it, I think. And you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so spoilers again, but again, this is old movie. But what they did is, they had Jason basically in some kind of slumber where he was basically unconscious, and you had Freddy sneak into his dreams, and basically, it almost made him kind of the sympathetic character, Jason,
Yeah.
that is, because
Yeah,
it's
it
like
did.
he's getting taken advantage of to do this thing.
Right.
But it's just that kind of it's that old campy style. I mean, you have the Freddy, you have the Jason. Robert Englund reprised his role as Freddy. They had a little prequel stuff to it, so you saw Freddy as his human self, and when he got torched, I thought that was pretty intriguing. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's one of those you could watch by yourself and still be able to sleep, but just a real good big group movie.
It was the Batman and Green Hornet episode. Where Batman from the old Adam West Batman, and then the Green Hornet shows up, and so you've got like Batman and Robin, and then the Green Hornet and Kato, and they're like on TV together. Like that's what it was. It was the oh, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate.
And we've talked about this before about like going to see movies on opening night. So that was opening night, and we saw it with a big crowd. And it's one of those things like when you first see Freddy, all the Freddy fans cheer. When you see Jason, all the Jason fans cheer. Like at the end of the movie when they both come together to fight, like the whole crowd just erupts and starts clapping and hollering.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I've always been pretty scared of Freddy. So when I went there, I was a little nervous. I was kind of like, oh man, I might freak out because that's like one of my big fears. Okay. But getting into that with the crowd and everything, it was just like, yeah, it's great, fucking fight. So my 6th round pick is Freddy versus Jason.
That's a good pick. I think I can outdo it.
All right,
This is my final.
Yeah, and as we stated before, this is the final pick. This is the icing on the cake, all over for everybody to remember.
This is the money shot, and this really is the money shot. This is the one. This is the movie that started a slew of. I call it gore porn. That's the way I refer to it. My 7th pick.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, my 7th pick is the original number 1, the first Saw movie.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going somewhere else, but I just found out my last pick.
There you go.
Saw, yeah. So this was one oh go ahead. I'll let you talk
To
about it.
me, it was a gory. It was it was gory. And that's gore doesn't really bother me. Like it doesn't bother. I don't get unnerved by it on screen or whatever. But the thing that I liked about the original Saw, was it played out like a Hitchcock film.
Yeah,
Where
definitely.
it was, like I said, it was like a Hitchcock film or almost like a Twilight Zone episode, where it's a very simple thing. I'd say it's probably close to a Hitchcock movie. It's a simple thing. It's two guys in. When you break it down, it's two guys in a room.
Yeah, real cheaply done. There's a third guy in the middle that's dead that you don't know why he's there.
Right. It's two guys in a room and they're talking. It flashes back to this and flashes to this, and there's other things that go on to kind of to flesh out more of the story. But at the end, it's like I said, when you break it down, it's two guys talking in a room, and then you have that you have that M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end,
Yeah.
but it plays out like a Hitchcock movie, and the other ones, 2, 3, they were decent. I think, obviously, it kind of does that sequel thing where it gets progressively worse as it goes on.
They beat that horse to death.
They did. They really did.
But like that, the first one. So again, I don't want to have to surely we don't have to say it, but spoilers. With the Saw movie, did you expect the ending? Did you know that was going to happen when it happened?
I really didn't.
Okay.
I really didn't. It did totally catch me. Well, because you hadn't seen a movie. A movie hadn't done that for me in a while.
Yeah.
Where like I said, it plays out. I haven't seen a movie in a long while where they were like, "Oh, let's put a big twist at the end."
That you didn't predict like halfway through the movie.
Right. Well, and honestly, like I think now, like my brain is kind of trained for it at this point because it's happened so much, where they try and like pull something out from you at the end.
Yeah.
That you're almost like you're guarded against it at this point. But when Saw came along, you hadn't had that in a while, and so you're just kind of going along and you're thinking, oh, it's just a gory kind of slasher kind of movie, and then you're just like, what?
Yeah, that's. I remember watching it, and it was just a bunch of us in a dark room, and I was kind of following along, and I don't want to say I got bored with it, but I just, it was one of those times where I wasn't in a good movie mood.
Right.
And so I was following along, and at the end, when you see him stand up and walk out, my first thought was like, he's a zombie. And then he looks around and says, "Game over." And I'm like, yeah, can we watch this again?
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and that's one of those, like you said, like we talked about before. I was big into the Saw movies for a while, and that's what really kicked off that kind of feel for me. Is I just really wanted to get into those, and I was watching each one when it came out around Halloween time. But like I said, they just beat that thing to death.
Yes, they did.
That's a good pick. I think I thought about that one. I don't think I have it on my list.
I figured. I'm actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking at it and I saw it and I was like, oh, he'll probably pick that one early. But then, like, we got to talk and I was like, holy shit, we're at 6 and he still hasn't picked that one.
Yeah. Well, I wrote down. I did kind of the same approach as last time. I wrote down 14 different horror movies that, it's just kind of things like, okay, what's the first ones that come to mind?
Yeah.
But yeah, Saw should have been on there and it wasn't. And actually, the last pick I'm gonna make. There they go, freaking out.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah. So my last pick, you're talking about torture porn. I actually thought you were gonna pick this movie, but this is one I saw on my birthday when it came out.
Okay.
It basically is a torture porn movie. I think it kind of like Saw basically made it okay for torture porn, and I would say this is the movie that really just pushed it full force.
All right.
It came out about a year later. It was Eli Roth's, not his first movie, but his first big movie. I'm gonna go with Hostel.
Oh.
I think it had
I
a good.
wouldn't say it was his first big movie because he did Cabin Fever, and Cabin Fever was fucking. Cabin Fever made everybody like afraid to shave their legs.
Yeah, I would say Cabin Fever, but I don't know if it was real big as a theatrical release. I think it was one of those like.
I guess you're right.
It was released. Everybody's like, "Oh, you should do this movie."
That was not the one I thought you were gonna pick. Honestly, I thought you were gonna go with the Human Centipede.
I haven't seen it, so.
Did you say intentionally?
Yeah, I don't really want to see another chick shit in another chick's mouth.
No, you don't.
But Hostel, it's it starts out with a good storyline, and then they get captured, and it kind of keeps you on your toes even up to the end. 2 and 3.
It starts out kind of like blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden it's just like, ah!
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what is happening?
And it's set up where like he gets away and he goes back and like it's like oh, is he in Groundhog's Day? Like he walks into the hostel room and there's 2 naked chicks walking out, and he's like, where's my friend? Like, why is this happening again? This was a once in a lifetime thing when it happened, yesterday. Why is it happening again?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. But I mean, the ending when he gets away and, like I said, 2 and 3, I saw 2 and didn't care for it.
I didn't see 2 or 3. The idea that Eli Roth got the idea for that movie.
Yeah.
He was having a gross out contest with a friend of his via email. Like they were sending each other emails trying to like sick the other person out. And he said my friend won because he sent me this email, and it was a place in, I want to say Indonesia. He's like, where you pay $30,000 or $20,000 or $25,000, something around there, $25,000 to walk into a room and shoot someone in the head.
And the idea was like 2/3 of that money or something went to the guy who you shot's family or something like that.
Yeah,
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
But he saw that and he was like, "This actually happens." He's like, and that's when the wheels started turning in his head, and that's where his idea for Hostel came from, and wow.
Yeah, and I like the original because the original made it feel like really dirty and like underground and like only.
Yeah, it had a grit to it.
Yeah. The second one was more like it's like this big international thing and every wealthy person in the world knows about it. And I was kind of like, that's. I guess, is that possible? Yeah, but really.
Highly unlikely.
And then the third one I just read about a couple of days ago just because I was curious, and it actually seemed kind of interesting. It takes place in like Las Vegas, but it's kind of like a whole different storyline. Like the Hostel thing, the group where you kill people is kind of just it's not really the basis of the plot, which I think made it kind of interesting. So I might have to check that out, but.
Huh.
But yeah, so my last pick is Hostel. So, I'll go through a quick rundown here. So, Rich's team. The recap. So, for Rich, your first pick, you had The Shining. Good pick. Second pick, Cabin in the Woods. I think that one fell out of the first round. Third round pick, you had the original Halloween. Fourth pick, Dawn of the Dead remake. Fifth round, Aliens. Sixth round, Scream, and your seventh round pick was the movie Saw.
Yeah.
Good team. Good movies. So for Team Shawn, for my first pick, I have It. Second pick, I have Exorcist. Third pick.
That one's.
Yeah.
That
third,
one's really good.
Third round, I think this is another good one. The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Fourth round, The Hills Have Eyes. Fifth round, The Devil's Rejects. Fifth round. Sixth round, I got Freddy vs. Jason. And then the seventh round, I got Hostel.
Devil's Rejects, that one was so good. Should have been mine.
Yep. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the winner of the draft this time. That's a good horror draft.
I agree. Agreed.
Just kind of recap on some of the draft options I had that we didn't talk about. I had Amityville Horror Remake, 28 Days Later. I had the Halloween remake on here. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Why'd you go with the remake?
I just kind of liked the prequel part of it. Like I think it was a better storyline.
Okay.
It was. I mean, probably if you want to go scare factor, the original probably was a little bit more scary. But just the fact that they made it seem more realistic. Like this kid could actually exist.
Yeah.
Let's see, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Blair Witch Project.
I had both of those.
Blair Witch Project I thought would be one to pick because I saw all the like Discovery Channel stuff at first, so I like seriously thought it was real when I watched it. Like I thought this was actual found footage.
My wife, we were dating at the time, and my wife and one of her friends went camping.
Oh, nice.
They went camping, and they went out and set up their tent, and and got all their stuff right, and they came back in town to get. They were grabbing some food and whatever, and then they were gonna go back out there and for the night. And I was like, "Hey, before you guys go," I was gonna go see a movie. I was like, "You guys should come with me. We'll go see a movie together." And so the three of us went and saw the Blair Witch Project, and I was
okay.
And after it was done, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go home and go to bed. You guys, have fun camping in the woods." Because they already set up the tent.
Oh, no. Did they go?
They did. They.
Oh, wow.
I was like, next morning, I was like, how'd it go? She said, we went out there and we sat for a while, and then we came back in town and drank coffee, and then we went back out there in the morning.
Yeah, and so I had that one. So I had Last House on the Left too, the original. Paranormal Activity. I thought that was a good kind of found footage one again.
I had that one.
Had The Thing, the original and the new.
So
Both of those,
I didn't have the new
ones.
one. I had the original.
The new one's really good. Those
Kurt Russell, man.
Yeah. Well, and there's all kinds of like fan theories about that stuff too. It's like at the end, it's like, well, is one of them possessed or not? Like. Or one of them had
weird.
the thing.
That's weird. Like your also rans are also my also rans. Like everything that you named. Like I had a small, honorable, things that I didn't list, but that was it. Like you just listed everything that was on my list.
What I love about the thing too is I watched the old one first, and then I went and watched the new one in theaters, and it's like when you're watching, and I love when movies do this. This is probably my favoriteest thing in the world, is when they make like prequels, and they fit like pieces in. So like in the original, spoilers, but 20 some odd years. In the original, there's like, you see like they go to this camp, and there's somebody who's been like burned, somebody who was stabbed, somebody who killed themselves. And in the new remake, they basically are those people that they go discover. And so you see all those pieces of how it happened, and it's just kind of cool to see that stuff fit together.
Yeah.
And then my last two, just quick ones. Both of them are shark movies. I left them off, but Jaws, obviously. But there's a movie shark-wise that freaked me out. It took me like 3 or 4 times to watch this. It's a movie.
Sharknado, isn't it?
It's Sharknado. No, it's a movie called The Reef. Have you seen it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
The guy who wrote, I don't know if he wrote and directed it. We'll just say he did. I'm pretty sure he wrote and directed it. He did The Reef, and then he did one about the swamp. So it all takes place in Australia, and they're both kind of the same thing. It's people stranded. But in The Reef, it's like my ultimate nightmare. The boat flips over, and so they're like, well, we were just at this island that's no more than like, maybe an hour or two swim away. So let's all just get stuff on. We'll jump in the water and swim out there. And there's one guy who's like the cat, because they're just in like some kind of sailboat, like just a little houseboat thing. And he's like, no, and it's based on a true story. And he says, no, I've fished these waters. I know what's in these waters. He's like, there's nothing that can get me in this water. And like it's a pretty big rant. And like I'm already scared. I'm like, yeah, let's just stay on the boat. And the other people are like, whatever. I'm sure we'll be fine. They jump in, and so basically it's the shark that's hunting him down. And the scenes when they get attacked, like I was watching it on my phone, and I had to stop and turn it off because I was squeamish. Like I was unsettled from it.
That's awesome.
So The Reef, definitely check it out. It's I think it's on Netflix. So
okay.
So that's the horror draft, the 2014 horror draft. So we gave you the recap. Go ahead and hashtag Shawn's team, horror team. Make sure it's WHORE, and Rich's horror team, and we'll see which one you guys think are better. If there's any movies we missed, shout them out to us. You can get to us at languageofbromance.com. Hit us up on Twitter at languageofbro, or shoot us an email. It's languageofbromance@gmail.com. And then also, if you haven't yet, like us on Facebook, and we post stuff on there all the time, just different
We're all
things.
over.
We're all over the interwebs. So, is there anything else you want to add, sir?
No, I'm fantastic.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have left for this show. This is Shawn.
And this is Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver.
That's scary.